Okay, according to a little bullet, we're recording now, so
okay.
I'll do a quick intro and then maybe you can start, Steve.
Okay.
Okay, hello everybody. This is TX21 Indivisible again. We're visiting with Chip Roy's office. Only there's nobody from Chip Roy's office actually on the call, but whatever. We will record it. We'll put it out on various social media platforms, and so hopefully some people will see it. Last week we had nearly 500 people viewed it, so it's
Wow.
getting around. Okay, so we usually read letters about our issues, and so we will do that again today. So maybe you want to start, Steve?
Okay. I've got two short ones. I'll read one, and then maybe towards the end I'll read the other one.
Sounds good.
Representative Roy, TX21 Indivisible, which is focused on U.S. Congressional District 21, is one of thousands of indivisible chapters across the nation dedicated to peacefully calling out the anti-democratic actions of you, President Trump, and others. Over the past 3 years, we TX21 members weekly visited the Austin offices of first U.S. Representative Lamar Smith, and with his retirement and your election, your office, to express our concerns. These meetings have always been businesslike, even friendly on occasion. So it came as a complete shock to us when last month you falsely and maliciously tweeted that TX21, quote, chooses Antifa and violence over peace, property, and life, end quote. As you know, we actually met with you in your Austin office last year, so you know in your heart that none of your invective is true. But as with all Republicans, you always have to have boogeymen to blame for real and or perceived problems. Representative Roy, from temper tantrums in DC to letting constituents rattle you here at home, you simply aren't suited for the give and take of elective office. However, we Indivisibles plan to remedy that on November 3rd. For true representation, Stephen Shackelford.
Very good, thanks, Steve.
George, do you want to go next?
Sure, mine is short. Dear Representative Roy, if you don't like lockdowns, why aren't you taking any steps to prevent them? Not only have you done nothing to increase COVID testing or PPE supplies in Texas, you've actively worked against all of the steps recommended by health authorities for people to keep themselves and others safe. You're too selfish and immature to even wear a mask in public, probably the simplest and most helpful thing an individual can do to prevent the spread of COVID-19. Those of us who actually live in Texas 21 are tired of hearing you bleat about your imperiled freedoms when you can't even take responsibility for your own basic hygiene. The mounting deaths in our state are your responsibility. Early voting starts in 122 days. I hope you're ready. We are. Sincerely, Susan Shorn, Austin, Texas.
Great letter.
Okay, maybe I'll take the next one then. I wrote a reply because I actually got a response from Chip to a letter I wrote the previous week, but it was, when I read it, somewhat of a disappointment. So this is kind of my response to his response to my letter. Representative Roy, while I appreciate getting a response to my letter last week from you, or probably more correctly from a member of your DC staff, it failed to answer even one single question I asked regarding your position on Black Lives Matter and police reform. I did, however, learn that we are all flawed human beings who fall short of the glory of God. And you also went on to explain that your grandfather, who was a police chief and died of cancer when your father was only 7 years old, once got rid of, whatever that means, a police officer for mistreating a black family. All very good anecdotal information, but I really would have preferred straightforward answers to my questions so I could form an opinion on your position on these issues and how you might vote in upcoming legislation on police reform. Towards the end of your letter, you stated, and it was quite a long letter, it went more than one page, I will be sure to keep your concerns in mind should legislation or policies come before me in the House of Representatives. Well, I guess we'll have to see on that one. Also, I was not entirely convinced by a closing statement that you are happy to have engaged constituents who want to share their thoughts with you on important matters. I would find these words a little more credible if they did not conflict with previous exchanges with you, where you clearly stated that you are there only to represent those who voted for you and not those who voted against you. I also note that within the last month, you have uncharacteristically been inspired towards some bipartisan legislation, namely the PPP flexibility bill, and now a bill to address the conflict of interest of Congress members owning and trading stocks as they pass related legislation. What is behind this sudden change? Are you now going to sell your Kinder Morgan stock? We'll see. It's almost as if you have an election looming and are concerned about your past extreme positions and are now suddenly trying to appeal to a much wider audience. Well, I'm sorry, Congressman Roy, but I'm not fooled. I will still be voting for your opponent, Wendy Davis, in November. Goodbye, Mr. Chip. Pack your bags, Mr. Roy. Regards, Brian Clark, Austin, Texas.
As usual, another good one.
I didn't write a letter, but I've been thinking exactly what Brian just said. And all of a sudden, he's all working across the aisle and coming up with, slightly intelligent bills. There's another one he's working on with some other Democrat about Chinese, not classes, but you know how a college will have a little department, and apparently these departments are funded by some organization in China to teach people Chinese language, I think, over here. And he wants it to be more transparent because he thinks that they're keeping the Chinese professors from speaking out against China.
He also, that bill is, at least the Senate version, it's about not letting the Chinese spy on us via these universities because Chip's paranoid. And of course, there's no acknowledgement that the reason we formed all these relationships with Chinese universities is because the United States has methodically defunded all of our higher education institutions over the past 30 years or so. So we've had to take money from foreign entities because otherwise we can't serve our American students because our government won't help us pay for it.
Exactly.
So Chip is kind of trying to ride that line of being bipartisan, but also still super racist. It's interesting to see him trying to straddle that. I'm glad that you noticed that, Shirley, and brought that up.
Do y'all know what the Senate bill number is for that?
I had it up just a minute ago.
It was seven something, 7-3. It had a 3, a 7.
Yeah, I saw it this morning also. It's all part of the Chip Roy, Ted Cruz, and a whole bunch of other. It's the China bashing thing at the moment,
Transparency. It's called the transparency bill about what they're doing. It is noticeable, though, that all of a sudden he's so bipartisan and willing to work and blah, blah, blah. And I'm thinking, you want to get reelected, don't you?
Yeah, I think it was called something like the Confucius Transparency Bill, or something bizarre.
That's it. Yes.
Yeah. So if you look that up, I'm sure that'll come up. It's such an unusual title.
Did you say Confucius?
Yeah.
It's got the word Confucius in there.
That seems sort of strange.
He must have learned a new word or something, I don't know.
It is amusing to see Chip try to be bipartisan. It's just very unconvincing.
Yes, it is.
It's not even bipartisan curious.
No.
I see Mary's just joined us.
Yeah, I'm sorry
Mary.
I was late. Some things happened over here that.
No, that's no problem.
Is today your birthday, Mary?
It is actually.
Happy
birthday.
Oh, happy birthday.
Oh, thank you.
Mary, from all of us.
Thank you guys. Thank you guys. And I appreciate the people who gave to the food bank, and it's wonderful.
Yeah.
Do you have something right now, Mary, that you...
No, unfortunately, I really don't. I'm kind of here for the ride today.
Oh, okay.
But
All right. Okay.
You have another letter, Steve? You said, I think you mentioned.
Yeah, I have one
you said you
more.
had 3.
I can go ahead and read that.
I put the bill title over in chat. that Shirley was talking about. It's HR 7138, the Transparency for Confucius Institutes Act.
Yes.
Okay.
I've got to look this up.
Well, I'm glad you explained that there's actually behind that bill some real thinking that he's doing. It's not as straightforward as what it seems.
Okay. And my second letter, Representative Roy, regarding the racial divisions in our country, if you want to be part of the solution rather than a large chunk of the problem, please contact your GOP friends and state government to demand an end to voter suppression, which is aimed primarily at people of color, the disabled, and others who tend to vote Democratic. That includes your ALEC buddy and chairman of the Texas House Redistricting Committee, Phil King, insists that he work towards an independent redistricting commission. Then call Governor Greg Abbott and demand that he not only work to end gerrymandering, but voter ID laws, voter purges, cumbersome voter registration, voter intimidation, and reductions in polling places. It's not rocket science, Representative Roy. Just pick up the phone and call. It's that simple. However, if you don't have their numbers handy, I'll make it easy for you. King's Texas House number is 512-463-0738, and his district office number is 817-596-4796. Governor Abbott's Capitol Office number is 512-463-2000. For once, do something positive in the fight against racism. For a representation that's sensitive to the needs of all constituents, Stephen Shackelford.
Hey.
Great. Yeah,
Very
I just
good.
make a comment on, I mean, everybody's seen the rapidly jumped numbers in the last few days. I mean, yesterday, I think Texas went up over 4,000 new cases. And I think I've seen a preview of the numbers that will be published today because they were always a day late when actually they published them. It's going to be another 2,500 cases today, and the number of fatalities is going up also. So it's pretty scary right now. And so I keep sending messages. I send a fax every day to Chip Roy, which says, so he gets one of these every day from me. But
Great.
Wonderful.
I'm sure they just shred it. But, you know, I also sent him a note a week or two back saying wearing a mask is a sign you care about the safety of your fellow Americans. Not wearing a mask is a sign you don't care. And I wish that Chip Roy and Greg Abbott and everybody else would actually just swallow it, wear masks, and actually
Just wear a mask.
Yeah.
and force everybody to wear a mask. I was in ATB this week, and there were several people wandering around without masks, you know, and I approached them, and they were most upset that I thought they should be wearing a mask. You know, it's
People take their cues from people in leadership positions.
exactly.
And, you know, it's really incumbent on you, no matter how inconvenient it is. If you want to be in a leadership position, then you have to act like a leader, or at least I would have thought.
Yeah, walk the talk. Set an example, you know.
Set an example.
I wonder what, I didn't ask, but I was going to write a letter, a short card maybe, asking Chip Roy what he thinks about Trump's rally in Tulsa this weekend. Does he support it? Does he think people should wear masks? What is his position on it? Is he going? That was even more. And if he goes, is he going to wear a mask?
And especially in light of that race massacre back in 1921, to me, that's a very inappropriate place to have a Trump rally.
Yes.
Even
Whether
Trump had to move it up a day.
Yeah, but
one day. That's
One
all
day,
he
right.
moved it.
One
yeah,
day.
even though he changed the date by one day, to me that
By
doesn't
one
make
day,
a difference. It's still where that massacre happened.
Yes.
That's right.
Yeah.
And
I think it's just a direct statement that he doesn't like black people. I don't care what he
I think it
says.
is.
well, yeah,
It's
but
what he
moving it up a
does.
day, though, does the same thing that executive order that he did. It makes him look like he's trying to be reasonable without really doing anything.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
I think Nancy Pelosi was absolutely right when she said that executive order was a photo op.
I don't think that executive order actually mandates any immediate
No,
action.
it doesn't. It doesn't. It doesn't mandate anything that wasn't already in place. Yeah,
Oh,
they
wow.
should only use a chokehold when they think their life is in danger. Well, if you've got somebody down on the ground with your knee on their neck, I don't understand how they're going to be a threat.
And he was handcuffed too.
And he was handcuffed, right?
No, these people are sneaky, you know. They can do things when they're handcuffed behind their backs, you know.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's right.
I
That's
don't know.
right. They must live in Harry Potter universe where they can
Yeah.
they can summon their wand to, you know.
Cast a spell on him. Okay.
Axio gun.
Did we miss anybody, or does anybody have a second letter to read?
No, I haven't got anything
No.
else this week, so.
But if people will
I-
copy me on anything that they read, and then I'll get it up on the website. I still have last week's letters to put up too. I'm a little bit behind.
Okay. And George,
Thank
if
you,
you
George.
could send me a short little thing on what you said. I took a few notes, but
Okay. Yep.
I don't think I got it all down.
Okay, I'll send it.
Okay, great.
Okay, well, again, thanks everybody for resisting and persisting. We will continue, at
Yes.
least until November the 3rd.
Yep.
Okay.
Voter,
We're
yeah,
almost
we've
there.
got
We're gonna make
to.
it.
Then we got to fight this voter suppression at every turn.
Oh, no. Yeah, I agree. That's
Talking
crucial.
of voter suppression, I had a question. Maybe somebody can answer it. Given that we've got people being tested at the moment and more people are getting testing positive, what happens if you get tested positive? Do you have to stay in quarantine or something?
I don't think anybody forces you to.
No, nobody forces you to.
Okay.
It's strictly a recommendation.
Oh, how are you going to vote after you've tested
That
positive?
is a good question.
You're going to go to the polling station and infect everybody, or are you going to stay home and not be able to vote because, you know, you can't vote by mail?
Yep.
Very good question.
I don't know, but there will be a hospital bed for you to die in, just so you know.
Yeah,
because they're
Greg
not- they're
Abbott
not
assured
full.
us that we don't
Yeah.
have a shortage of beds.
Actually,
Yeah.
I'm not sure about that with the rate of growth at the moment. I
Well,
don't
no,
think
I'm
there
not
are
either.
enough beds. If the current rate of growth keeps going,
Right.
I think it's going to run out of everything.
We will.
So,
And we'll run out of nurses and doctors to care for the people in the beds, because that's what
is
you
going
can
to
have a
happen.
bed anywhere. There's lots of beds in the world,
Yeah.
but they
I
won't
have a bed
actually.
at home.
Yeah,
You need
that's a good point, too.
respirators. You need medical.
And a lot of people are choosing exactly that, to
Yep.
die in their bed at home.
Oh, that's a cheerful ending there, Mary.
Oh, I'm sorry, but they are. But
Hey, Mary,
yeah.
happy birthday. Okay, let's have
Yeah.
happy
Hey,
thoughts.
happy
Happy
birthday,
birthday.
happy
Birthday.
birthday.
Have a
All right,
good
Finding
talk to y'all
something
soon.
everywhere. No,
Okay, I'm closing
no,
off now.
I'm not
Okay.
that, I'm actually not that depressed. It just makes me mad about Greg Abbott.
Yeah.
Yes, same here.
Okay.
That's
Me
what I
too.
really mean, is that just the callousness of that is.
Exactly.
All right,
Okay.
everybody. I will
Well,
talk
have a
to
good
you
day.
soon.
Thank
Have a
you.
good one.
Okay.
Okay, y'all take
Have
care.
a good day. You too.
Bye.
We'll see
Bye-bye.
you next week.
See
Yep.
you. Bye-bye.